3 a.m. Your baby's crying again. You're on your third wake up of the night doing everything the parenting books told you to do. But here's the problem. 73% of sleep-deprived parents are following advice that's actually making their nights worse. If you're tiptoeing around your sleeping baby, keeping the room pitch black, or waiting for them to sleep through the night before starting a routine, this episode is about to change everything you thought you knew about infant sleep. Most parents in America are trapped in what I call the sleep myth cycle. You read the popular sleep books, follow Instagram mom influencers, listen to your pediatrician's nurse, and maybe even hire a sleep consultant. Everyone seems to agree on the basics, right? The problem is, when you follow this conventional wisdom, you're actually working against your baby's natural biology. Your cortisol levels spike every time you hear that cry. Your baby's stress hormones increase. And night after night, the pattern reinforces itself. But here's what's fascinating. Pediatric sleep researchers at Johns Hopkins and Stanford have been studying infant sleep patterns for decades. They've discovered that babies in certain cultures, babies who sleep better, babies whose parents are actually well rested, their parents do things completely differently. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Developmental and Behavioral Pediatrics found that parents who unknowingly avoided these 7 common myths reported 42% fewer night wakings and 67% better sleep quality for themselves. So what are these parents doing that's different? They understand something about infant neurobiology that most parenting books completely miss. Let's break down these 7 myths that are sabotaging your sleep, starting with the biggest one. Myth number 1, keep the house completely silent when baby sleeps. This seems logical, right? Baby's asleep, so everyone whispers. You silence your phone. You practically hold your breath walking past the nursery. But here's what's actually happening in your baby's brain. Dr. Harvey Karp, pediatrician and child development specialist, explains that babies spent 9 months in the womb experiencing constant noise, louder than a vacuum cleaner, 24/7. Their developing auditory cortex actually expects environmental sound. When you create total silence, you're making your baby's sleep fragile. They never learn to sleep through normal household noise. Every little sound becomes a potential wake-up trigger. A 2021 study from the University of Michigan found that babies exposed to consistent white noise or normal household sounds during naps had 38% fewer partial arousals. The parents who sleep better, they run the dishwasher during nap time. They talk at normal volume. They let siblings play. Their babies develop robust sleep that isn't shattered by a doorbell or a dog barking. Myth number 2. A dark room is essential for good sleep. Every nursery design guide tells you to install blackout curtains. Make it dark as a cave. And yes, darkness does promote melatonin production. But here's what nobody tells you about infant circadian rhythms. Babies aren't born with fully developed circadian clocks. That internal day-night rhythm, it develops over the first 3 to 4 months through exposure to light-dark cycles. When you keep daytime naps in a pitch-black room, you're actually preventing your baby's brain from learning the difference between day and night. A fascinating 2020 study from Northwestern University tracked sleep patterns in 200 infants. One group napped in rooms with natural light filtering through. The other group used blackout curtains for all sleep. By 4 months, The natural light group had circadian rhythms that were 23% more established and consolidated their nighttime sleep 11 days earlier on average. Megan, a mom from Portland, Oregon, told me she noticed the difference immediately. For daytime naps, she opened the curtains just enough to let ambient light in. Nothing bright, just enough that her daughter Emma could sense it was daytime. Within 2 weeks, Emma started naturally extending her nighttime sleep while keeping daytime naps shorter and more efficient. Myth number 3, never wake a sleeping baby. This old saying is so ingrained in parenting culture that suggesting otherwise feels almost criminal. But let me explain when this advice actually backfires. If your 2-month-old is sleeping for 4 hours during a late afternoon nap, they're essentially stealing sleep from nighttime. Their homeostatic sleep pressure, the biological drive to sleep, gets released during that long nap instead of building up for consolidated nighttime sleep. Dr. Jody Mindell, Associate Director of the Sleep Center at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, found that strategic wake-ups for daytime naps longer than 2 to 3 hours can actually improve nighttime sleep quality. Your baby's total 24-hour sleep stays the same, but it redistributes to when you actually need it, nighttime. Carter, a dad from Austin, Texas, was terrified to try this with his son Levi. Levi would take a 3-hour nap from 4 to 7 p.m., then stay awake until midnight. 1 week of gently waking Levi at 6 p.m., and suddenly Levi was ready for bed by 8:30 and sleeping until 4 a.m. That extra consolidated stretch changed everything for their family. Myth number 4, sleep training means cry it out. This myth keeps so many parents trapped in sleepless exhaustion because they think their only options are either never sleep training or leaving their baby to cry alone for hours. The reality? There are at least 12 different evidence-based sleep training methods, and most involve minimal crying. A comprehensive 2018 review in the journal Sleep Medicine Reviews analyzed 43 studies on infant sleep interventions. They found that graduated extinction, where you check on your baby at increasing intervals, worked just as well as unmodified extinction, but parents reported 62% less stress and were 4 times more likely to complete the process. Even gentler methods like the chair method, where you gradually move farther from the crib each night, showed significant improvements in sleep consolidation without extended crying periods. The key is consistency, not severity. Myth number 5, babies should sleep through the night by 3 months. This expectation causes more parental anxiety and unnecessary interventions than almost anything else. When your friend Charlotte posts on Facebook that her 12-week-old sleeps 12 hours straight and your baby is still waking twice, you feel like you're failing. But here's the actual data. According to a 2019 study published in the journal Pediatrics, only 57% of 6-month-olds and 72% of 12-month-olds sleep through the night consistently. Sleeping through the night was defined as just 6 consecutive hours, not the 8 to 12 hours that many parents expect. Dr. Marie-Hélène Penestri, a sleep researcher at McGill University, found that night wakings at 6 and 12 months didn't predict any developmental, attachment, or maternal mood problems. In other words, your baby waking up is completely normal and not a sign that anything is wrong. The parents who handle this best, they adjust their expectations and focus on stretching wake windows and improving nap quality, rather than obsessing over an arbitrary milestone. Myth number 6, a later bedtime means a later wake-up. This seems so logical. Keep your baby up until 9 or 10 p.m. and they'll sleep until 8 a.m., right? Wrong. Completely, frustratingly wrong. Infant sleep works on homeostatic sleep pressure and circadian timing. When you keep a baby up past their natural bedtime window, usually between 6 and 8 p.m. for most infants, they become overtired. Cortisol levels increase. Their nervous system gets overstimulated, and paradoxically, they sleep worse and wake up earlier. A study from the University of Colorado Boulder tracked sleep-wake patterns in infants with different bedtimes. Babies with bedtimes before 7:30 p.m. actually slept 43 minutes longer on average and had 30% fewer night wakings than babies kept up until 9 p.m. or later. Lucas and Sophia from Chicago experienced this firsthand with their daughter Ivy. They kept her up until 9:30, hoping she'd sleep until 7. She'd wake up at 5 a.m., cranky and overtired. When they moved bedtime to 7 p.m., fully expecting her to wake even earlier, the opposite happened. Ivy started sleeping until 6:30, and her mood transformed. Myth number 7, babies need to learn to self-soothe from birth. The term self-soothing gets thrown around constantly in sleep advice, but here's what neuroscience tells us. The prefrontal cortex regions responsible for self-regulation don't mature until much later in childhood. Expecting a 2-month-old to self-soothe is neurologically unrealistic. What babies actually need in the first 3 months is co-regulation. Your calm presence helps regulate their nervous system. Your consistent responses teach them that the world is safe. This foundation actually enables independent sleep later, not prevents it. Dr. Darcia Narvaez, professor of psychology at the University of Notre Dame, explains that responsive parenting in early infancy correlates with better self-regulation in toddlerhood, not worse. You're not creating bad habits. You're building neurological scaffolding. The transition to independent sleep happens naturally between 4 and 6 months for most babies, when their neurobiology supports it. Forcing it earlier doesn't accelerate development. It just increases stress for everyone. Let's bring this all together. Everything you thought you knew about baby sleep, question it. Don't create silence. Use normal household noise or white noise. Don't make daytime pitch black. Let natural light in for naps. Don't let long, late afternoon naps steal nighttime sleep. Wake your baby strategically. Don't think sleep training means abandoning your baby. Choose a method that fits your family. Don't expect the impossible. Most babies don't sleep through the night at 3 months. Don't keep your baby up late. Earlier bedtimes actually extend sleep. And don't force self-soothing before the brain is ready. Co-regulate first, independence follows. Here's what you can do tonight. First, assess your baby's bedtime. Is it actually too late? Try moving it 30 minutes earlier for 3 nights and track what happens. Second, tomorrow during the first nap, Don't use blackout curtains. Keep regular curtains closed, but let some ambient light filter through. See if your baby still naps well, because most will. Third, this week, add consistent background noise to your baby's sleep environment. A fan, a white noise machine, or even a playlist of household sounds. You're teaching their brain that sleep can happen with normal life happening around them. If you implement just these 3 changes consistently for 2 weeks, you'll likely see noticeable improvements in either sleep consolidation or your own stress levels, probably both. Remember, infant sleep is developmental. It's not something you're doing wrong. It's something that unfolds as your baby's neurobiology matures. Your job isn't to force it. Your job is to create conditions that support it. I'd love to hear which of these 7 myths surprised you most. Leave a comment and let me know if you've been stuck in any of these patterns. Next episode, we're diving into wake windows and why getting them right can solve 80% of sleep problems. You're doing better than you think. Those 3 a.m. wake-ups won't last forever. Sleep is coming, I promise.